Thank you, Colin, and then good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today to speak to the theme of the future of packaging. Firstly, to introduce myself, my name is Tom Burke. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and Communications at Coca-Cola HBC Ireland and Northern Ireland. So, again, a lot of you will be familiar with our brands, and I might just take a moment to tell you a little bit more about our business, who we are, and what we're about, and how we're structured as well. But just to say at the outset, this theme is very close to our hearts here at Coca-Cola HBC. Packaging is integral to obviously the products we produce, and it's a journey we've been on as a company and as a system for a long time. And I'm delighted to get the opportunity to tell you a little bit about that today. So just firstly, as I said, everyone will be familiar with a lot of our brands, and hopefully you're all consumers of our products. But just a little bit about the background. A lot of people aren't aware maybe as much about the Coca-Cola system and how it's structured. So just to say a couple of words on how that works. Effectively, there's two parts to the Coca-Cola system. The first is the Coca-Cola Company, who are the owners of the brand trademarks, who have responsibility for consumer marketing and indeed driving demand, I guess, in the marketplace. I work for Coca-Cola HBC, as I said. We are the bottling side of the system. Effectively, we produce, manufacture the products, and have responsibility for marketing and selling those products into our many customers right across the island. Again, as I say, a lot of you will be familiar with our business, but we are the number one non-alcohol ready to drink. So that's a very technical industry term, NARTD, leader across the island of Ireland, having about 36-37% of the market share at any one time. We're a very significant business in terms of our scale and our reach here in the local market, and we have about 700 employees on the island of Ireland, spread across all of the various counties on the island. We're a significant business of scale with over 400 million in turnover every year, but we are part of a wider group as well, and you might not necessarily be familiar with that group. So just to say a word or two on how that's composed. There's 28 markets and countries within the group, employing over 30,000 people. And those jurisdictions vary from obviously the Irish market on the island of Ireland to Austria, Greece, Cyprus, Italy, Switzerland, and then out east as well. So out to Belarus, Russia, Romania, Serbia, Ukraine. And I say that because I think that gives us a very unique view of the marketplace. Having those mix of territories and those different jurisdictions within our group, we get a really unique insight as to the trends, what's happening in the world of packaging, and what's coming down the line from a consumer perspective, but also generally from an industry perspective. So from that perspective, I guess we probably are uniquely placed in terms of the beverage industry to provide some of that insight. But we are very much a local business too, and we are massively proud of our over 80-year history in Northern Ireland. A lot of you, again, will be familiar with our production facility in Lisburn at Knockmore Hill. And it's, we're very proud of the history and heritage of our business and the part we play in the community and society in Northern Ireland more generally. We do have offices in the Republic of Ireland as well in Dublin, and we've been continually investing in terms of our facilities on the island. In the last 3 years alone, we've invested over £20 million into our facility at Knockmore Hill. And we now produce over 390 million litres of beverages from that facility every year. And that comes in a variety of different packaging types. Our most recent innovation at the plant has been a new canning line to cope with the incredible demand and increase in demand for canned products in recent years. But that investment continues. It will continue in the years ahead, and we are very firmly committed to our presence in Northern Ireland going forward. But just before maybe I get into the detail of our view of packaging and packaging as an issue and the challenges that lie ahead, all of you will be familiar with the context of the discussion around packaging, and more particularly plastic in recent years. It's been seen as public enemy number one in many places, and there's been a huge consumer, media, and stakeholder conversation ongoing around plastic as an issue, as I say, for a number of years now. But just in order to set the scene, I want to play you a very short video that maybe puts in context the challenges that lie ahead.
We hoped that Blue Planet 2 would open people's eyes to the damage that we are doing to our oceans and the creatures that live in them. I've been absolutely astonished at the result that that program has had. You've been on beaches with thousands more of you than ever before picking up rubbish. What is more, the strength of your response has not gone unnoticed in the corridors of power.
More than 40 companies have signed up to an initiative to cut plastic pollution in Britain.
Plastic bottles, plastic pollution.
Tackling the scourge of plastic.
We must reduce the demand for plastic.
Coffee cups,
Plastic
the bottles,
Plastic chopsticks.
everyone has woken up to the need for action.
So that's the context, I guess, the environment in which we as a business are operating in, the challenge that lies ahead, and the gauntlet that's been thrown down to us as a business by many. We're fortunate in that, we didn't start our work on this issue in the last couple of years. This has been a journey over many years as a business. But in 2018, we launched a formal strategy, a global strategy in the area of packaging. There's 3 pillars to that strategy. It's called our World Without Waste strategy. And it sets some lofty ambitions and goals for us as a business at a global level and indeed at a local level. And I think it exemplifies our commitment to this area as a business. 3 main areas: design, collect, and partner. In the design space, we've been working very hard over the last number of years to ensure all of our packaging is 100% recyclable. And I'm proud to say that that is the case as of today. We also have been working hard to integrate recycled plastic into our packaging and particularly into our plastic portfolio. And that's been a journey, a difficult journey for us as a business, but one we're committed to and one which hasn't been without cost. And I might come back to that a little bit later. It's an ambition of ours to continue to grow that and something we're very committed to. I guess from the perspective of linking it back to the design piece, for us, collection is key to unlocking the opportunities that exist in terms of innovation and design. And for us, the collection target is by 2030, we will collect every single bottle and can that we place on the market here in Ireland. That is a hugely aspirational goal. It's quite a lofty ambition. It's going to be very challenging to meet that. But through a number of innovations and working with a range of different partners, we believe it is achievable, and we are committed to achieving it. The great unlocker of that, we believe, is the deposit return scheme, which I will come back to in a little bit of time. We are cognizant that we can't achieve these ambitions alone, and that's why partnership is a key part of our strategy. In order to do that, we're going to have to work with government. We're going to have to work with the rest of industry, as well as other partners, stakeholders, and NGOs to ultimately achieve the ambitions that are contained within the World Without Waste strategy. But again, this is something we're committed to doing, and it's something we're excited about. What have we been doing to date? What do we plan to do over the next number of months? And indeed, what are the longer term ambitions? So I like to put this slide up because I think it gives a sense of the momentum and the continuum that we are on as a business in terms of the redesign of our packaging. When it comes to the World Without Waste strategy, design, as I said, is a central part of that. But we've been involved and we've been working on this for a number of years in order to improve the design of our packaging, to make our packaging even more sustainable and to try and reduce our impact on the environment in which we operate. There's been a number of probably milestone moments, you might call them, over the recent years. I think the advent of the first 100% recycled plastic bottle on the market through our Deep River Rock brand that we launched in May 2019 was almost a watershed moment for industry. We were the first ones to move into this space. Others are starting to follow now a number of years later, but we were the first to do it. Again, it was significantly more expensive, and I think that maybe not well appreciated because of the shortage of recycled plastic, or PET as we call it, tends to carry a premium of about 35% or thereabouts. So that makes it more expensive, but we believe it's the right thing to do, and it's something we're committed to increasing over a period of time. The other couple of milestones I would point to was the advent of KeelClip and Q-Flex. So these are cardboard packaging solutions replacing shrink wrap plastic on our multi-pack cans. This again is market leading. We're the first beverage company in the Republic and Northern Ireland to do this and to innovate in this way. And it removes very significant amounts of virgin plastic as a result of their advent. They look better on shelf, and they are, increasingly more consumer centric and focused. And I think that's important too. A couple of other projects that lie ahead for us. We are trialing 100% recycled film across our multi-pack Deep River Rock range. So this means that the plastic wrap you see around the multi-pack bottles will indeed be from recycled plastic in the months and years ahead. Again, a big commitment from the business, but an important one. And also the move to tethered caps. So this is an example of innovation. While mandated by European legislation by 2024, we will deliver that project this year, 3 years ahead of schedule. And again, it's showing our commitment to not just having these big statements or these big strategies, but delivering against them. So you can see the ambition here. You can see where we've come from. You can see what we're trying to do currently, and you can see practically what we're trying to do into the future to continue on our journey in this respect. But all of that is set against the backdrop of a challenging policy environment. Those of you who are close to the world of policy and sustainability and green policy will be familiar with a lot of these things. But I think when you put them all onto a single slide, it shows the difficult resource challenge we have as a business and as an industry indeed, in order to try and meet these. DRS we will come back to, so this is the idea of a deposit return scheme, but you can see there in both jurisdictions in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, there is a drive in this direction, and both governments are committed to introducing deposit return schemes, and they will come on stream over the next couple of years. Also allied to that, there's been through UK consultations quite recently a move towards introducing an extended producer recycling scheme across the various UK regions. And again, that will add an extra burden to our business, but will help us in terms of collecting and meeting our obligations in terms of the products that we put on the marketplace. And then thirdly, there's a plastic packaging tax, which will be introduced in the UK in April 2022. This will mean that any product, packaging product with less than 30% recycled plastic content will be subject to a tax. That obviously brings challenges with it, but it certainly provides opportunities for us to further increase the use of recycled plastic in our packaging. But that again will drive demand for recycled plastic. And at the moment, there's no clear view as to where this demand will be met and where this recycled plastic will be available over a period of time. So challenging, it is a continuing, the world doesn't stand still, it continues to move on. And it just gives you a flavor, I guess, of some of the policy challenges that we as a business are grappling with on a daily basis and having to take cognizance of as we develop and build our strategy out in this space. Again, the one I would focus on just for a couple of minutes is deposit return schemes. Deposit return schemes are a simple concept. Effectively, when you buy your bottle or can in the shop, you will pay a deposit, a fixed deposit of a certain amount. You will be able to redeem that deposit through a reverse vending machine when you return that piece of packaging. It is a principle and a concept we as a business are fully committed to introducing on the island of Ireland. We see it as an opportunity to increase collection rates and drive a circular economy for packaging on the island of Ireland. That doesn't exist today. It is a hugely challenging space. It's a very complex system to introduce and to build out, and there are a lot of unknowns attached to it, and there's a lot of work yet to do to understand what it will look like in the context of Northern Ireland. But we as a business are committed to it. We've seen its success in other jurisdictions, Norway being a very good example of that, where they've achieved very high collection rates off the back of the establishment of a DRS scheme. And many of the markets we operate in currently have moved to introduce DRS schemes or are doing so currently. So the opportunity is clear. However, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because with opportunity comes a challenge. And we've seen in other markets that have open borders, the potential for fraud attached to a DRS scheme. I think that's going to be a very significant challenge for us as we build out this scheme, as we work with government and other stakeholders to look at what it might look like in the context of Northern Ireland. And there are learnings we can take from that experience of other markets, Estonia being a classic example of that. I guess the last thing we want to do is build a system in the context of Northern Ireland that doesn't take cognizance of the fact that we have an open border with the Republic of Ireland, and there is a huge amount of traffic over and back across that border every day. And there will be a flow of product that will carry a deposit either side of the border. So there will be a requirement for us to take cognizance of that or run the risk of building a system which is not sustainable and not future-proof. And that is the concern we have at the moment. But we have a number of principles that we believe will see the introduction of an effective, sustainable and high-quality DRS in the context of Northern Ireland. It has to be owned and operated by the obligated industry, that being beverage producers, on a not-for-profit basis. This can't become a commercial enterprise. It has to meet the policy objectives as laid out by government. And in order to do that, it must be run in a not-for-profit, streamlined, cost-effective way. It must have a mandatory take-back obligation. So this can't be piecemeal. It must be everyone must be in, and it must be done on a scale that is right across the board. It must have a broad base of materials, and it must include plastic and aluminium at a minimum in order to be effective. And it must operate on the basis of reverse vending machines that will be strategically placed around Northern Ireland in order to ensure consumers have the best opportunity to return their packaging and that we can collect as much of that packaging as possible. It must be done in a cost-effective way, as I said, but more importantly, the organisation that runs the DRS scheme must have the right to retain the deposits that are unredeemed in order to reinvest into the system. It must be consumer focused, and we must do everything in our power to educate and prepare consumers for its introduction. And it must, as I said earlier, have very clear anti-fraud and governance structures that allow for sustainability of a system into the longer term. So we believe if we follow all of those principles, this is the single biggest game-changing innovation from the perspective of the packaging, beverage packaging industry that we're going to see in a generation. And it does have the potential to be a game changer, and that's why we as a business are fully committed to it. We're fully committed to continuing to innovate in our packaging design in order that we can become greener, more sustainable, and more effective at doing what we do, and that's producing beverages that consumers want to buy. And that's ultimately our objective. This is a journey we're all on together. DRS is going to be a very significant part of that in the years ahead, but one we as a business are fully committed to and excited to have that engagement with all of you and with many other stakeholders as part of that process. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation as part of the panel which is coming up. Thank you for listening to me today, and I look forward to dealing with some of the issues arising from this in the next number of minutes. So thank you again for listening, and again, thank you for having me present today.